Is it true? Can mindfulness help me with my perfectionism? Is it so easy that I can do a couple of minutes mindfulness per day and then my perfectionism is gone? Welcome to ANTILONELINESS channel. I'm Vasis Sarandopoulou and I'm a psychologist, and I'm all about sharing my tips and my knowledge on mental health, emotional well-being, relationships, and my secrets around psychology world. Before we move on, make sure that you subscribe, but also click on the bell so that you can get notified every time that we are posting a new video. So now today we are going to talk about how mindfulness can help with perfectionism. How are these two even related? So remember when we're talking about perfectionism in previous videos, and you can go to my playlist and see all the videos that we have posted about perfectionism. And we said that perfectionism is the stress we feel that we are not enough, is a protective coping mechanism, so that every time we feel that we are not enough and we are going to be told off, then we are pushing more and we are putting a lot of effort so that we don't encounter that painful possibility. The possibility that we will hear from somebody or from our inner critic the fact that we are not enough. So it's a coping mechanism, perfectionism. It's something that we have learned through our childhood or growing up or from relationships or important people around us. But we have learned that this is how we will feel that we are enough, we have done enough, and people around us are proud of us. So as you can understand, there's a lot of criticism around perfectionism. And here is where mindfulness is coming to save us. Mindfulness is the practice of meditation, but not only. Mindfulness is a philosophy that says, yes, practicing meditation is really important, but at the same time, without judging yourself, being kind and compassionate to yourself, feeling grateful for what you have already achieved. You can easily understand that all these things are the opposite of perfectionism. We are not accepting what we have done. We are not being kind to ourselves. We are judging ourselves all the time. We are not acknowledging all the things that we have done so far and the efforts that we have put. So mindfulness is the antidote to perfectionism. So let's see specifically what mindfulness offers. First of all, mindfulness is our opportunity to stay focused. When we are into our perfectionistic mindset, it's like we are a computer with 20 tabs open. We are distracted and focused in all these different areas. How am I doing as a student? How am I doing in my role as a parent? How am I doing with my partner? How am I doing at work? What about this project? What about the next goal? What about the other expectation? What about the future? What about the past mistake? So all these tabs are open at the same time. And this is where mindfulness comes and says, can you please close all these tabs? We don't need them right now. Let's focus on the present moment. What is happening at the present moment? What are you thinking at the present moment? What are you feeling? What do you want at the present moment? So it helps us a lot so that we can clear our mind. And that sometimes is heaven. Just to clear our mind, just to not be in 100,000 places at the same time. And it can be an amazing feeling. As I said before, mindfulness is a fantastic opportunity so that we can get in touch with what we feel and what we want at this moment. Why is that important? Because many times perfectionism is contaminated with other people's expectations. We follow a dream, we follow a career, we follow a decision just because somebody else would feel proud of us, or just because somebody else that said that this is the right thing to do. And we do that subconsciously. We agree immediately. Perfectionists are also people pleasers. So we do that. Mindfulness says, can you please pause for a moment? And let's check. Is it something that you really want? Is it something that relates and resonates with your purpose, with what gives you joy in your life, with what you value as important? Is it? And it's a fantastic opportunity to do that, because then this is how you connect more with yourself. One thing that I've heard many times from people that they suffer from perfectionism is that sooner or later in their life, they come to a point where they don't recognize themselves. They don't know what they want. And that's a point where they do a big pause, a big break, so that they can figure out what they want and who they are. In order to wait for that moment to come and take the big break, we can do it in small breaks, and this is the mindfulness breaks. And get in touch with ourselves and what we want. Also, as we said before, mindfulness is all about self-kindness and self-compassion. Perfectionist mindset, it's all about judging. Judging what you have done, what you haven't done, what you have said, what you haven't said, what you can do more. Mindfulness mindset, acceptance. I understand that you haven't been where you want to be, but I see that you have tried. I see that you did your best. There's no judging in mindfulness. And this is something that you practice even with 5 minutes mindfulness. So to give you an example, when you do meditation, you do practice your mindfulness. What happens is that you close your eyes, you focus on your breath, and then you think that the right thing to do is think of nothing. And as it's very normal, your brain, your mind goes away and thinks about what you're going to have for dinner, or what are you going to email to your colleague, or what are you going to say to your partner, in all different places. And then you get upset and frustrated and say, oh, see, I cannot do it. That's it. I'm going to quit. That's now mindfulness, to be kind with yourself, to learn, to see that your mind has escaped, your brain has escaped into some other direction, and just to acknowledge it and bring it back. Oh, okay, I'm thinking about my dinner. Okay, no problem. Come back. Let's start again. It's so normal what's happening. This is our brain's job, to think of things. There's nothing abnormal about that. And the only thing that we need to change is our attitude. Acknowledging that our mind is drifting away, and then just bring it back. That's it. With kindness and compassion, that this is nothing wrong about that. And that's the new mindset. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. There's nothing wrong in not knowing. Of course you don't know. You're doing your best. Also, another concept related to mindfulness is gratitude. This is where you feel grateful for what you have achieved so far. Remember what we said before? Perfectionism means beating yourself up for all the things that you haven't achieved so far and that you should have done more. A lot of should and must. Mindfulness means I see what you have done and you have tried a lot. And look what you have done. Look what you have achieved. You have done so many steps so far. It's amazing. Well done. So being grateful. And it doesn't mean that you become lazy and sloppy and you give up. No, you still try. There's a lot of healthy perfectionism in mindfulness. Of course you will continue trying. But at this moment, we need to stop and look what you have done so far. And that's amazing. And I congratulate you for that. That's what mindfulness does. Feeling grateful for what we have right here, right now. Not then in the future, but right here, right now. Shifting your mindset towards a more accepting and a more compassionate attitude. And now that we said compassionate, another element of mindfulness is learning how to be compassionate towards yourself. Perfectionism says, I don't care whether you're tired, you need to go on. We have a lot of things to do and you need to work. Don't stop. I don't care about your sleep. I don't care about your weekends. I don't care about your trip with your partner. Just work. While mindfulness says, well, I see you're tired. I don't want you to collapse. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. You are the most important thing here. And this is where you learn to be compassionate with yourself. And again, you're not becoming lazy. You're just becoming more human. That's what you have unlearned by being perfectionist. Not to be human with yourself, not to be accepting with yourself and giving yourself a break. So now that you've heard about mindfulness, is it that and the change that we want to bring in our lives? We don't want to stop trying. Of course we want to stop trying, but through a different mindset. We want to achieve more, but without being more miserable, but without missing life in between, but without beating ourselves up for all the mistakes or for all the things that we haven't done or said, or for all our flaws and weaknesses. No, we don't want to do that. That's not helpful at all. It doesn't add to anything. And we want to go to a mindset where we will not be struggling with indecisiveness, stress, anxiety, and panic all the time. We don't want that. This is so exhausting. So the last thing that I want to mention is a study that I read. And it was about examining the brain of people that they practiced mindfulness for a specific period of time. These people, they were found to be less stressed, less burned out, less depressed than before they did mindfulness. But that's more or less expected. What is not expected is that these people, they had the benefits of mindfulness, which is the less stress, less anxiety, less burnout, for up to 9 months after they stopped practicing mindfulness. Isn't that amazing? Your brain keeps that benefit even for 9 months. Imagine what happens when we are practicing mindfulness consistently. If we're practicing mindfulness on a daily basis. And that's what I want to leave you with. Let's practice mindfulness without putting the perfectionistic expectations again on that. It doesn't need to be half an hour or 1 hour, 2 hours practice. Do it whenever and wherever you want. Practice for 5 minutes, practice for 10 minutes. Practice mindfulness when you're in the train going to work. Practice mindfulness when you're cooking. Practice mindfulness when you're walking towards the supermarket for your groceries. These are moments that you can practice mindfulness, which is being in the present moment. And remember, being grateful, being kind to yourself, and being compassionate to yourself. That's what we need to practice. It's not about blanking our brain and not thinking. It's about allowing the brain to think, but at the same time, being there, compassionate, and bringing it back to one thing at a time, the present moment. I hope it was helpful. Let's see how we can practice mindfulness. I'm not saying it's easy. I also struggle sometimes, but we are doing our best. Every day, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. We're doing our best every day because we know that in the long run, it's going to be only helpful for us. There's nothing bad about mindfulness. We only help ourselves. So make sure that you subscribe so that you can see more videos about perfectionism. Also, make sure that you get your free guide, How Much of a Perfectionist Are You? This is a guide where I put together 30 videos on features of a perfectionist. And yes, 30. I know there are many, but at the same time, I can think of much more than these. So that you can understand what it means to be a perfectionist and see how many of these you have. And you will find the link for your free guide with lifetime access on the comments. Feel free to share your experience about mindfulness and how it has helped you with perfectionism. Ask your questions and I will surely get back to you. And looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a nice day and take good care of yourself.